Well, hello and welcome back. I am so excited to have Kellyn Legath back on the show. It has been a hot minute since you've been on, Kellyn.
It has, and I'm so excited to be back. I feel like our conversations, we're always like, let's keep going, and it's always so much to talk about. It's perfect.
Yeah, I just love it. So, for those of you that haven't met Kellyn yet, I absolutely adore her. I believe that everybody, including coaches, need coaches, and Kellyn has become mine. And so I just love, like, I think a lot of people are going to relate to the idea that I think for many people pleasers, myself included, I have an easier time sitting with other people's emotions than I do my own emotions. And
Totally.
so something I deeply appreciate about Kellyn is she really helps me to bring it back to self, to remind myself how to feel and process emotions because I'm human too. And I've noticed for myself when I'm feeling tired, when I'm feeling extra big emotions, sometimes I just need a little bit more support. And so when this particular thread popped up on Instagram that people were getting excited about, and Kellyn was like, oh my gosh, yes, so true. Then I was like, okay, good. We need to bring Kellyn on to actually talk about this because it's a very big deal. So, yeah, so thank you so much for being here, Kellyn, and I'm excited to jump in.
Oh, me too. This is going to be a juicy topic. I feel like there's a lot. There's a lot here.
Yeah, so first I'm going to read you the Instagram post that we're going to be referencing. Several of you commented on this, and then we're going to kind of just dive into it. So the Instagram post says, a lot of people are practicing emotional avoidance and calling it a positive mindset. But positivity that bypasses pain isn't healing, it's suppression. And suppressed emotions don't disappear, they fester. They resurface. They sabotage relationships, self worth, and nervous system safety. You don't have to good vibes only your way through grief, disappointment, or anger. You are allowed to feel deeply and hold on to hope. You are allowed to name what is hard without labeling yourself as negative. Healing invites all of you to the table, even the most messy, uncomfortable parts. Real positivity isn't about ignoring the pain, it's about being honest with it and still choosing to move forward. So, kind of using that as our premise, today we're going to really kind of break this down into three different components. So, first, we're going to talk about the difference between positive thinking and emotional bypassing, how to sit with emotions, and then how to change your relationship with the emotions that you're avoiding. So, Kellyn, let's just jump right in. Okay. So,
Sure. I love it.
what for you, how would you define the difference between positive thinking and emotional bypassing through that lens of toxic positivity?
Yeah. Positive thinking is really, to me, thinking intentionally. And what I mean by that is really tuning into yourself and saying, okay, what's true here? I think I always use the phrase rainbows and butterflies, and that came from our own coach training, but I think it really resonates so much. Where like, people want to go to the land of rainbows and butterflies, of
Mhm.
positive. Yeah, it's all good and good vibes only, the perfect example in your intro, right?
Yeah.
Or don't worry about it, and it's like, sure, but you're jumping so far from what's really true. And I
Mm.
think that's a really important aspect of what you said in your intro as well. It's like it's about truth.
Mm.
It's really about like, does this feel good to me? And that's more positive. Even 1% is more positive than like everything is terrible, right? You're not
Hmm.
going to go from everything is absolutely terrible to no big deal. It's all good. It's all going to work out, right?
Yeah.
And that brings me to like the emotional bypass, right?
Hmm.
Um, Anytime there is an emotional bypass, it's sort of a stuffing or a pushing down of the real truth of the emotion of what you're feeling. A lot of times it's like, oh, it doesn't really matter, or I shouldn't. Shoulding yourself is a big one,
Hmm.
right? I shouldn't care. I should be over this. I shouldn't be talking about this so much. I don't know why this is bothering me. Let's just move on, right? It's sort of this suppression of what's honest and true for what you're experiencing.
Hmm.
So to me, that's what it comes down to, boils down to.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. Yeah. For me, I kind of think of positive thinking as the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. I
Totally.
think, I think that when people are negative people, then they're the ones that are only focusing on the negative and they have a hard time seeing okay, what's the good that's coming out of this? And also the toxic positivity is refusing to see the hard, right? So it's kind of like, okay, well, what's the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Because all of life is both of those things, right? So it's
Totally.
saying, yes, this is hard. And, right? It's the this and. These two things can both be true at the same time. I don't have to it's not mutually exclusive, right? It doesn't mean that because things are hard, I can't be happy, and it doesn't mean, and the reverse is also not true. And then
Right.
like that emotional bypassing is, yeah, like I said, like it's kind of that suppression, like, okay, well, I don't want to feel that. I love how you brought up the shoulds, right? Like, oh, well, I should be over it by now. I shouldn't be feeling this. Well, they should be feeling this way instead, right? Like when you notice those shoulds, I think that's like the number one thing that lets me know that, okay, maybe I'm trying to like emotionally bypass this. I'm not actually sitting with my emotions.
Totally. And I think I want to just highlight something you said because I think it's really important of it really does sort of boil down to black and white thinking.
Mm,
Like negativity is like, this is really terrible. Everything's bad. Nothing's working. And then positivity is like, everything's great. No worries.
mm-hmm,
Rainbows and butterflies, right?
mm-hmm.
Like thunderstorms and tornadoes and rainbows and butterflies. And
Yeah.
it's like, we're trying what the truth of the matter is of like true emotional processing is being able to sit in that gray area, being able
Mm,
to sit with the discomfort. And I think that's an important, a really, really important aspect because so often people are like, nope, it has to be good or it has to be bad. Or
mm,
like there is so much discomfort in that gray area because we're not taught to sit there, right? I
mm-hmm.
feel like every time I come onto your podcast, I always go into my rant about like this is a societal thing. Like
Yes.
anybody that's listening, if they're like, oh, that's me, or that feels really bad, and you start to notice some shame, like I just want to, plant the seed that think about the way our society is. We're not taught to process our emotions. Men are told they're too emotional. Women are told they're too emotional. And if
Mm-hmm.
you see life through that lens, automatically what you're learning is emotions are bad.
Right.
Emotional expression is bad, or feeling a big emotion is bad.
Yes.
So we're
Well,
we're
and
back
that,
to black and white, bad and good.
absolutely. Well, and then the too emotional, right?
Mhm.
It's like, okay, too
What even is
emotional for
that?
who? Like,
Yes, exactly.
like most of the time when it's like, oh, well, they're too emotional. It's because we are having a hard time emotionally processing the fact that somebody's having a feeling. It's
Right.
creating a feeling for us. So we're experiencing that resistance. It's like, well, if I can just judge it and make them wrong,
Mhm.
then I won't have to process my feelings, which is
Totally.
bypassing, right? It's like, no, I'm going
Right.
to
It's
control
bypassing.
everybody around me.
Totally. And we're back again to black and white, right? Right or
Hmm.
wrong. Me or them. Like who's to blame? Me or you, right?
Yeah.
It's choose one or the other, and it's not that.
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the questions that I got on social media was basically like, but how do you sit with emotions? Because I don't want to sit with the negative emotions. Why would you want to sit with the negative emotions? What are your
Yeah.
thoughts on that?
Oh, so many thoughts. Okay, the first thing is, this is a sort of what's the word I'm looking for? Just like a blanket statement, to simplify it, to really dumb it down. But
Mm-hmm.
if you're intellectualizing and talking about an emotion, you're not processing it,
Mm-hmm.
right? I always say like over overthinking is underfeeling, right? So much of what we do is up here, think especially in therapy, in our
Yeah.
minds. And processing is a body experience. So mind is intellectualizing, thinking, oh, I'm really angry. Processing is in the body,
Mm-hmm.
feeling into where is anger showing up? Where do I feel my heart pounding and my fists are clenched and my jaw is tight? That's the processing. It's being able to map it within your your body.
Mm-hmm.
That's the biggest thing. And then to answer the second part of like, why would you want to? You're like, that sounds terrible.
Yeah.
You're like, what do you mean? Why would I sit with anger? Or I'll use sadness because I think that's one that, especially for me, has always been a really hard emotion to open up to
Mm-hmm.
because I'm like, oh, sadness feels so terrible. It feels just, a deep emotional feeling in my chest, in my gut. We could talk about chakras probably in all of that, but save that for another podcast maybe. Um, but I think it goes back to what we're saying in the beginning of when you're repressing an emotion, it has nowhere to go,
Mm-hmm.
right? You're just pushing it down, and I can't say this enough. I think this is an analogy I use with my clients. I'm wondering if you use it too, about a beach ball. Suppressing an emotion or bypassing emotion is like holding a beach ball underwater. And I think this is such a perfect analogy because we all know that when we're like that feeling, right? And it's like fun and it's playful, and you're like, sure, we don't have to worry about that, but it always pops back up.
Mm-hmm.
And, emotions are energy. They need somewhere to go, they need something to do, or else they end up sitting in your body. And, it can lead to illness and so many other things, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, it's for your own benefit. Another analogy I often use is like when you don't process your emotions, it's like carrying a backpack full of rocks. Imagine you go through your whole day and you're like, oh, that emotion, I'm not going to look at it. And you put a rock in your backpack. And then you
Mm-hmm.
keep walking again and you're like, oh, my boss said this really mean thing and it upset me. Oh, now I'm putting another rock in my backpack. And you get to the end of your day and you're so weighed down by
Mm-hmm.
all this emotion that you're not able to sit with and process. And it's exhausting. That's where like
Yeah.
emotional exhaustion comes in, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're like, why am I always so tired? I'm like, well, because you're not processing your emotions, or you're not thinking intentionally, going back to the mind part of this.
Mm-hmm.
You're either bypassing it or getting more angry or, whatever it is. So
Yeah.
it,
Yeah, and then that's when we emotionally react, and then that's when we
yeah,
label ourselves as being, oh, I'm too emotional, I'm too out of control.
right.
Yeah. I
Right.
love what you said about how overthinking is underfeeling. Like, I want to just talk about that one for just a second because I
Yeah.
think, especially when you've been doing the work, when, like we're both coaches, right? So, like, for me, I'm like, no, I should be able to logic my way out of this because I know that my thoughts are creating my feelings. So I just need to change my thoughts. and,
Yeah.
and then I'll be working with Kellyn. She's like, nope, remember, we're going to feel our feelings first. And
Yeah.
then when you also talked about how, yeah, like it's going to be trapped in the body. Like, a book that I love is The Body Keeps the Score. I'm going to definitely be linking that one in the show notes. But it is really interesting to see how emotions manifest in the body, how they do impact our physical health and wellness. And so when we think that these things aren't impacting us, they really are. And it can be interesting to, even as I'm coaching with people, to see the correlation between, I think a lot of people pleasers, they may have back pain because they're bending over backwards to help other people. They might have neck and shoulder pain because the weight of the world is on their shoulders. Like, these are very common things. Sore throats,
I was just going to
hearing.
say
Yeah.
sore throat. I used to get a sore throat all the time. I
Yeah.
really did. I hardly get them anymore.
Yeah, because they're not speaking their truth. They're not
Yeah.
stating a boundary. But that all of these things that we stuff down, they are impacting us. We think, well, if I can just pretend it doesn't bother me, but your body is going to let you know that, hey, guess what? You're still holding on to that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so, so important to
Yeah.
just, and it goes back to truth, right? It goes
Hmm.
back to what we're talking about at the top of the episode of what's true for you.
Yeah.
Just because you're experiencing doesn't mean it's bad. And to your point too about like, being in a session with me and wanting to solve it,
Yeah.
actually, it's like, of course, because there is a degree of perception, or I always say the story that you want to tell,
Hmm.
and reframing what's going on in your experience. But everybody jumps ahead to that, trying to
Right.
reframe to feel better
Right.
instead doing the emotional processing. And it's like, that's where the pain comes in, right? It's like, oh,
Yeah.
I have this thought. Let me change the thought. And it's like, wait, you're missing a step in the middle. You're
Yes.
trying to hop across the bridge when there's a stepping stone in the middle that you're, missing, and then
Yeah.
you fall into the water.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so along that line here, I thought it would be really fun for us to do a little bit of a role play. So, knowing my audience here, I thought we'd do two different role plays. So, Kellen's in on this. It's going to be great. So, we're going to do kind of just a model of what it might look like in coaching. We're just going to make these 5 minutes or less for each one. But so we're going to talk about how to navigate your own emotions and then also how to navigate it when you're upset that somebody else is having an emotion, right? So sometimes it's what's impacting us and sometimes it's the other people are having emotions, but it really comes back to us navigating our own discomfort and learning how to navigate all of that. So, first, we're going to start with Kellyn. Kellyn is going to be my client today. And Kellyn is just fresh out of a relationship. And, well, it's been a while, but she's just feeling some negative emotions still that she thinks she should be over. So, we'll just jump on in. All right. So, Kellyn, hey, thanks so much for coming to coaching today. What's going on?
I want to be over this relationship. It's affecting me. I'm anxious. I keep dwelling on it and I feel so sad all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been so long and I don't want to feel this way. And I'm like, I know he's not right for me. And I know the relationship wasn't healthy. And I thought about the things that he did and didn't do. And, I understand that I made mistakes in the relationship too, but it's still bothering me. I want to move on.
Hmm. Yeah, so that's really interesting because it sounds like you feel like it's been long enough. You're kind of shooting on yourself. So how long has it been? When did you guys break up?
It's been 2 months.
2 months. Okay. And so you after 2 months, you feel like, okay, and I should be 100% over this and kind of back out there.
Mhm.
So it sounds like there's kind of two things happening for you. You're kind of shitting on your, I mean, first of all feeling uncomfortable about the relationship and still healing from that, which is human, but it's going to be really hard to even get to the heart of those emotions and healing from the relationship when on top of that, you're adding shame, thinking, well, I should be further along in my healing. So which one do you want to sit with first? Do you want to sit with the shame first or just the sadness around and the grief around the loss of the relationship? Because those are two separate things.
Yeah. I'm I think the sadness.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so let's kind of sit with that. Yeah, so how long were you dating this guy?
We were together for about a year.
Yeah. Yeah, and it makes sense that you'd be feeling sad at that loss, right? Yeah. So how does that sadness feel for you? Let's just kind of sit with it for a minute. Where is it? Where is it in your body?
It's in my chest and it's in my throat. And I can feel as you're asking me these questions, I feel like I want to run. I
Hmm.
want to pull out of this conversation.
Yeah, that makes sense, right? Because you've been resisting that sadness. You've been resisting the sadness and shaming it. So there's that part of you that's ashamed that you're feeling it. There's that part of you that wants to run away. We're just going to acknowledge those parts and just say, okay, yep, it makes sense. You're trying to protect me from feeling the sadness, but it's safe to feel it now. And as we can sit with it, then we can really kind of process it and move on. So
Yeah.
let's kind of just acknowledge that resistance and bring it back to the sadness. You said you were feeling it in your throat and in your chest. What does it feel like?
My throat feels tight.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and my chest actually feels better since you sort of brought me back, like said
Mm-hmm.
the resistance is there and brought it back. But it does feel just I feel a lot of like a little bit of pressure in my chest. Like it almost is
Mm.
like an elephant is sitting on it.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's just kind of observe that for a little bit.
Mhm.
We're just noticing that feeling of the elephant on your chest. And I want you to just kind of let it be for a minute rather than resisting it, rather than shaming it. Just acknowledge it that, yeah, I feel really sad. And it feels like there's an elephant on my chest.
I recognize that this is a thought, but I'm thinking this doesn't feel good.
Yeah. Yeah. And why does grief and sadness need to feel good?
Mhm.
Because recognizing that, okay, well, yeah, of course it doesn't feel good. It's okay for it to not feel good. Sometimes we shame ourselves for having that grief and that sadness,
Mhm.
but that's a part of life. And it's okay and it's safe to have those emotions. It's okay to mourn the loss of a relationship. How does that elephant feel now?
The elephant feels better. I really feel it in my throat.
Hmm.
Just a tightness, like a bubble.
Yeah. Yeah. Tell me more about that. What's happening in your throat?
Um, just feels like stuck energy is how I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna describe it. Obviously, I don't feel constricted. I can talk and I can
Mm-hmm.
respond to you, but it feels kind of hot.
Yeah. And that makes sense. Yeah. A lot of people, when I talk with them about their grief and their sadness, especially if they've been resisting it, it's almost like they just need to let it out. It's almost like a lump in their throat, like they want to cry.
Mhm.
Have you been able to give yourself space to just feel that sadness and let that flow?
Mhm. Not in this way. No,
Mm,
I've been thinking a lot about how I don't want it to be here.
yeah. Yeah. And I'm going to go back to one of your earlier thoughts that part of you feels like you should be done with it.
Mhm.
Sometimes we even tell ourselves, oh, well, I did cry, so now I should be done.
Mhm.
But grief and sadness kind of comes in waves.
Mhm. Even just talking about it now and tuning into it, I can feel it sort of feels a lot less.
Hmm.
It feels like it's like like a sandcastle. Like pieces of it are kind of breaking off and going into the water and it's still there, but it feels less.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for sharing. Yeah, so you can kind of see through that just little mini role play. Of course, that was highly condensed, but it's always interesting to see the different emotions that come up, right? So there was the sadness and the grief. There was also the shame. There was also the resistance. And we can just acknowledge each of those. Sometimes when we're trying so hard to feel and process a specific emotion, we're just going to bury it in other emotions, right? And we can eventually get to those other emotions. But when we can really get to the root of the emotions, it's really cool to see how those other ones, they just kind of loosen their grip.
Mhm.
Basically, those other emotions are just there to protect us,
The
right? We don't want to
emotional,
experience a negative emotion, right?
yeah, yeah. And I think, sorry to cut you off, the emotional stacking, right? The kind of, oh, I'm mad about being sad,
Mm-hmm.
right? I'm annoyed, I'm frustrated about grieving the loss of this
Yeah.
friendship. I'm so angry, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think that so happens. That happens. I see that most often in session with people. It's like we
Yeah.
have to peel them off one at a time, right?
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
your point, ideally, and there's no right or wrong. All emotions lead to Rome, right?
Mm-hmm.
But ideally it's like first we have to peel the first layer off of like, why are you shaming yourself for feeling sad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
find out what's going on there. Because once you can understand that, oh, I feel stupid that I fell too hard and,
Mm-hmm.
peel that layer back, then you can kind of access the sadness, right?
Yeah.
But if there's a bunch of barnacles on it, it's like we can't get to it. We can't get to
Yeah.
the root.
Yeah. So good. Okay, now we're gonna switch the roles a little bit, and Kellen's now gonna coach me. I'm a client, I'm having a really hard time with my siblings being in a fight. So we'll just go ahead and jump right in.
Great. Hi, it's so good to see you, MaryAnn.
Hi.
Tell me what's going on. What are we coaching on today?
Well, my siblings are in a big fight and I just hate it. I just don't know why they can't just forgive each other and move on. They just need to change. They should not be treating each other this way.
Why why do you want them to forgive each other and move on?
Well, I mean, they should, right? You do for family. They should just forgive each other. This is family. They should be loving each other and they shouldn't be treating each other this way. I just can't stand it.
Tell me why they should be doing that.
Well, they're supposed to, aren't they? Isn't family supposed to like each other and be nice?
What if part of being a family is being human and having human emotions and being angry and holding grudges?
Well, first of all, they shouldn't be angry. Like, don't they even see how this is impacting me? It's impacting me. It's impacting the whole family. Like, it's not even about them. Can't they see how much it's impacting everybody?
Why is it impacting you?
Well, it's really uncomfortable for me. I mean, I want my family to get along. The holidays are coming up and I want us to be able to be together. And I don't want to be worried about the conversations. I don't want to be worried about if somebody's going to show up or not, or who's going to sit by who, or if there's going to be a big fight. I don't want that. I just want it to be peaceful.
Mm. What is most prevalent to you? Is it the worry? Is it the discomfort? What are you feeling most?
I think I'm just scared. I'm
Mm.
scared that my family's falling apart.
Okay. Yeah. Tell me about that fear. What does feeling scared feel like in your body?
It feels really chaotic. I don't like it. Like I want to jump out of my skin. It just feels like everything's out of my control and that it makes me scared. There's too many things I can't predict.
Mm. Just taking a second and just take notice of your body and you can put your feet on the ground and
Hmm.
ground down for a second and just tune in when you think my family is falling apart. let me know if you notice any sensations in your body. It could be from your head. You could do a body scan from top to bottom. You
Hmm.
start at your feet and work your way up. But do you notice anything when you think that?
Yeah, I mean, underneath that, I think I feel a lot of sadness.
Mm,
Like once that fear kind of stopped just scrambling my energy, like I just feel sad.
mm.
It's like I'm having grief before anything's even really happened. It's just me assuming that it's all going to fall apart.
Yeah. And where do you, I see you holding your chest. Where do you notice sadness?
Yeah, it's sad in my heart. Like my heart is just heavy.
Mm. Feels heavy.
Yeah, it feels heavy and dark and closed.
Mm. Yeah. And what about a f the speed of it? Does sadness feel really fast? Does it feel slow? You mentioned chaotic. The fear felt a little chaotic, but how does sadness feel?
Yeah, the fear was all over the place, but the sadness is like a heavy stone. It's
Mhm.
just, it's dark, it's cold, it's heavy.
Yeah. And if we just allow, knowing that your mind wants to solve this problem or
Hmm.
thinks that this agree argument in your family is a problem, right?
Hmm.
Knowing that your mind wants it to go away, knowing your mind wants it to feel better. What if we just allowed the sadness to be there? Just to witness it, not try to change it. We're not trying to keep it around either, but just to
Yeah.
witness it and just to sit with it and pull up a chair and let it
I,
be there.
yeah. I mean, honestly, when you say that, it does feel a little bit better because when I really think about it, if my family were falling apart, I would want to be sad. I wouldn't want to be happy. I wouldn't want any other emotion. Like it makes sense that I'd like I if I could choose an emotion around that, I would choose to just be sad.
Right. Right. Sometimes sadness is the correct emotional response. You went exactly to what you said. You don't want to be happy, right? The goal is
Yeah.
never to be just positive, thinking positively about your family when things are not, that's not the reality of it, right?
Yeah. And it's strange that even just acknowledging that like in that situation that hasn't even happened yet, right? Like I'm just this is just in my imagination, but just acknowledging that okay, if that happened, I it would be a choice for me to be sad about it. Like it's funny that that makes me feel lighter. It makes just giving myself permission to be sad about them having a hard time. Is that weird that it makes me feel a little bit better?
Not at all, of course. Giving yourself permission is taking the power from the external and knowing that you're in control of your emotions, that you're allowing them to be there, that it's okay that they're there. It's full
Hmm.
permission of your emotional experience.
Well,
And
and it's
that's
also
awesome.
interesting. I'm also noticing that just accepting the sadness that it actually helps me to love them better because
Mm.
now I'm not angry with them as much. I don't have as much anger and resentment towards them.
Right. Right. And
That's
then with that
interesting.
anger, there's less of a forcefulness in trying
Hmm.
to fix or solve for their their argument.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Awesome. Okay. Well, so as you guys will notice, neither of us really tried to fix the emotion for the other person. Like we were just a witness. We encouraged curiosity and the emotions naturally shift. And that's what's so fascinating is we create so much more. What we resist persists. And so when we're resisting the negative emotion, we're actually compounding it. As we talked about those compounding emotions, we're adding an on top of it. We're adding mostly a lot of shame is the most common one that I see in my practice is the
Same.
shame that things should be different or I should be better or I shouldn't be
Right.
feeling this
Shame and
feeling.
judgment, right? Judgment is
Mm-hmm.
the other one, like really judging themselves around. I
Yeah.
need to get over this, or I'm being too dramatic, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and all we did was just get curious about it. I think that curiosity is so healing of just, oh, okay, well, is there a different emotion I would choose to feel in the situation? Where it's like, no, that's actually a pretty good emotion to feel in those circumstances that I'm okay with feeling sad if that's my circumstance. And so it's just really interesting to see how that curiosity and just having permission to feel that alone can help to lighten so much.
Truly, truly. The permission is everything, right? Because it goes back to that beach ball.
Mm-hmm.
The permission is just like letting the beach ball float around on top of the water and let the wind take it, let it be there, and eventually it blows out of the pool.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And the resistance of it is pushing it down. You're using so much energy, then you're not enjoying your time in the pool.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And then you're
Yes.
tired and you're like, I can't kick anymore. And
Yeah, so that leads into our third talking point, which is how to change your relationship with the emotions that you've been avoiding.
I love this topic. This was such an eye-opening moment for me in my own healing journey of
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts with about anything is
Mm-hmm.
is the root of your relationship with that thing.
Mm-hmm.
So if your thoughts about money are money is terrible, you're gonna have a terrible relationship with money, right? If your thoughts around your mom are negative, you're gonna have
Mm-hmm.
a negative experience, with your mom.
Mm-hmm.
And the same goes for emotions, right? If you think sadness and anger are wrong or bad, you're going to be resisting those most often.
Mm-hmm.
And the perfect example, I always love to give this example is jealousy, right? And
Mm-hmm.
to me, this goes back to societal programming around our our society says if you're a jealous person, that's so bad.
Mm-hmm.
Jealousy is bad. It makes you bitchy, it makes you insecure, it makes you all of these things,
Yeah.
right? And I think as I was going through my healing journey, I really investigated that and I got a reframe through a podcast that I always used
Mm-hmm.
to listen to, and they were like, "Oh, jealousy is showing you what you want. It's
Mm-hmm.
it's it's not about the other person. It's sort of this soul recognition, this desire of, hey, I want this thing, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
think I think people listening can really relate. Like, have you ever had a friend that's like has a boyfriend and you find yourself acting jealous or feeling jealous?
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't even like that guy. I'm not even attracted to him, right? You're looking at like the material thing and trying to make sense of it. And it's not about that, right?
Yeah.
There's a deeper soul knowing of like, sure, you might not want him, might not be jealous of like that person in particular,
Mm-hmm.
but what you're jealous of is a nurturing person, right?
Mm-hmm.
You might see him open the car door for her or carry her bags, and you're like, oh, I desire support, right?
Yeah.
And when I changed this mindset around jealousy, I it became like one of my favorite emotions. Like I'm like, oh, look at this. It's a cheat code, right? I'm like,
Yeah.
oh, look at this thing that I really want, right? And I'm like, oh, I'm so like I'll name it in such an obvious way. I'm like, oh, I'm so jealous of you. I
Yeah.
want that thing too, right? And it takes away so much of the power and the shame and we can do this with any emotion. I think anger, I'm interested to hear what you think about this, but I think anger is one, especially with women, that we so often feel like we're not allowed to feel.
Mm.
Um, and especially in the um BIPOC community, like being angry is so bad and like this label that you get for being an angry person. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just like, okay, wait a second. No, anger is informative. Or anger is telling you something, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to open up to that and not put the umbrella of, oh, if I'm angry, I'm bad, or if I'm angry, I'm a crazy person, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
Um, it will change everything because you won't be able to open up to something if there is a cage around it, right?
Mm-hmm.
If the story being told is this is absolutely bad and wrong, then that's what will happen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what I hear you saying basically is name it to tame it, like identify the emotion,
Yeah.
and then use the emotion as a cheat code to get information. I love that you call it a cheat code. This is how you level up, people. You use this cheat code, and it's so great.
It really is. It really is like
Yeah.
a cheat code.
Yeah, because and that's one thing that we didn't do in the role play, but we've often done for each other in coaching is, all right, so now that we have felt the emotion, that's the next step is what is that emotion there to teach you?
Yeah.
And like you said with the jealousy, okay, well, maybe that's showing me that I am in need of nurturing. I'm in need of adventure. I'm in need of affection. I'm in need of, right, like figuring out, oh, what is the thing that I am seeking? And then once you're able to identify it, again, it's the name it to tame it. Once you know why it is that you're experiencing that emotion, then you can create change for yourself.
Absolutely.
And it also helps to neutralize those emotions. So then instead of listing them as good or bad or masculine or feminine or like the ones that we are allowed or not allowed to feel,
Yeah.
when we're just able to be curious about them, like, okay, what emotion am I experiencing? Like most people are able to identify mad, sad, and glad. They can identify three emotions,
Yeah.
but what else is there? And getting curious about, okay, when we're curious, it automatically helps to neutralize them. We're not judging them as much when you're curious about it. It's like, oh, isn't that interesting? Like, oh, look, resentment just showed up for me today. What is that about? Oh, this resentment is showing me that things are out of balance in this relationship. Then you have the information to see, you have the cheat code, right? To see, okay, so now how can I create change? If I'm feeling like there's an imbalance and it's creating resentment, what do I need to do? Do I need to state a boundary? Do I need to make a request of them so that I feel like it's going both ways? What is it that I can do? Which is so empowering once you're able to
Totally.
recognize that okay, this is a cheat code to help me to get what I want. It's so empowering. We
It
feel
really
we
is.
feel disempowered when we're feeling the negative emotions. But if we can get curious and see what is it there to teach me, that's where the self-empowerment comes in.
Totally, totally. And I think this is one of the things that uh, you know, we're all looking for tools, right? We're
Hmm.
like, what's going on with me? I want this to go away. And it's like one, like you said, one of the most empowering tools to be like, oh, this is here. This is information. My body
Hmm.
is so smart. This organism that we're living in is so smart that it's like, hey, I'm gonna send you information. You're really
Hmm.
angry because this is crossing a boundary for you.
Yeah.
And, sometimes we can't see it. Our body sends us signals. And like, what a loving thing. I think so often, depending on where you are with your relationship with emotions, it can feel like, oh, this is terrible. I don't want to feel this way. And it's like, oh no, what a loving thing that our bodies and our nervous systems are so smart that they're like, hey, we're going to send you a signal
Yeah.
to let you know, hey, time to check into your body.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, and I've had so many clients where, all different reasons. Either it's because they've been conditioned that they weren't allowed to have emotions, or maybe they were in a toxic relationship where it wasn't safe to experience emotions. But
Yeah.
now they're in coaching and they're feeling so tired. Again, the body keeps the score. They're feeling exhausted. They're feeling overwhelmed. They're wondering, okay, what is wrong with me? And I should be finished feeling these feelings because I'm no longer that person anymore. And it's like, okay, but you still have to feel and process the things that you suppressed for all those years. Like,
Yeah.
we still need to dedicate some time and space to, okay, it's safe now to feel, creating that personal safety. There's lots of different ways that you can feel and process your emotions. Some people come to coaching, some people go to breath work, finding something that really resonates with you, spending time in nature.
Right.
Um, like, there are so many different ways that you can just create those safe spaces for yourself to feel and to process, but it can make a huge difference.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. I think what you just hit on too is really interesting. I tend to bring the inner child into the work that I do, and
Hmm.
it's very future focused, but I think there's also it's really important to acknowledge sort of when the inner child is running the show. And in that I tend to take inventory of when you were little, what were you not allowed to feel?
Hmm.
And that's sort of your roadmap right away. I think, for some people, positive emotion they weren't allowed to feel,
Yeah.
right? They weren't allowed to be overexcited because mom and dad said you're being loud and that's rude, right? So
Hmm.
suddenly they're in adulthood and they're like, oh, I don't like to get too excited. And then you end up missing out on processing the positive emotions. And we can kind of move into that too. Like, when because you're not processing negative emotions, you're
Hmm.
surely not processing positive ones. And to
Yeah.
be able, once you sit with the negative, you start to open up to the positive more. And I think like there have been so many instances where I'm having such a great experience and I'm able to tap into my body and be like, "Oh my God, doesn't joy feel so good?" Doesn't love just feel amazing? And we know it feels good, but to be able to sit with it and really experience it, your whole life opens up in such a different way.
I love that so much because I think that we have this belief that we can selectively numb emotions. We think, okay, if I can just numb the negative emotions, then I'll be fine. But we can't selectively numb the emotions. And so it is by default that we're preventing ourselves from experiencing that joy. And and I love what you shared about that I really want my listeners to be thinking about, have I shamed myself for my positive or negative emotions? You know, have I shamed myself for, no, I'm not allowed to celebrate myself. I'm not allowed to celebrate my successes. I'm not allowed to be happy. It's childish to be happy and playful and excited about things.
Yeah.
So just as we label emotions as, oh, well, white women aren't allowed to experience that emotion. It's like, no, we've narrowed it down. So it's like, oh no, that one's childish. That one only men are allowed to feel. That one is overused by women. We tend
Right,
to have
right.
so much judgments around it. So I love that you brought that up to just
Yeah,
create space for feeling. And I think even if you're not in a space, maybe you do want to come to coaching to help to identify the emotions that you would like support feeling, but you could start today. I mean, just pick any emotion.
right.
I
Think of
purchased,
one. Yeah,
yeah, I
one.
purchased an emotions book for my kids. And for a while, we would just pick an emotion at the dinner table. We'd flip open, pick an emotion, we'd take turns who was picking it, and we would just get curious about it. Have you ever felt that emotion before? What did it feel like for you? It
Yeah,
gave my kids the vocabulary and also provided a space where we could just feel those emotions. Then
yeah.
we'd be better able to recognize even in the body, okay, am I experiencing nervousness or excitement? Because they're very similar in the body. And
Yeah.
okay, and then okay, nope, this one is more excited. So it feels a lot like nervousness, but I'm mostly excited about doing this thing. And
Right.
then you can nurture the ones that you choose into.
Totally. Your emotional vocabulary grows so intensely. I think to your point, there was a time where I was so anxious and I kept saying, this is anxiety, this is anxiety, this is anxiety. And then when I felt into it more, and again, I can't stress enough how this is a dance between mind and
Hmm.
body, right? What am I thinking that's making me feel this way? What am I feeling? Like it's sort of it's an art, right? Not a
Hmm.
science. It's sort of a back and forth and staying curious and checking in. But as I moved through my process and I was like, oh, I'm saying everything is anxiety. I just bucketed because I believed that I was an anxious person, right? Like,
Right.
again, think of how we relate to ourselves. If
Hmm.
we tell these stories of, oh, I'm anxious, then anytime an emotion happens, you're anxious, right?
Yeah.
And I started to tune in and I'm like, but yeah, I'm like feeling it in my throat. Oh, this is anger. That feels different. And
Yeah.
you can start to peel apart and differentiate and understand yourself on just such a different level.
Yeah. I love that you said that because so often around this resistance around emotions, it's interesting to really break it down. Like, okay, well, yes, I'm feeling nervous and anxious and uncomfortable, but why?
Yeah.
Oh, it's because I'm trying something new. Like, even noting that as you're practicing feeling your emotions,
Yes.
noticing, okay, I'm going to be experiencing resistance because this is new for me.
Yeah.
But that form of discomfort is so worth it to just know that, okay, my body has become so familiar with the grief, the anger, the resentment. It's become so familiar to me that it almost feels like a safe little whoopee.
Yeah.
Where it's
Yeah.
like, I want to cling to that emotion because it feels familiar, and therefore my nervous system says that it's safe, but it's not serving you.
Right.
And practicing the discomfort of, I'm going to lean into curiosity. I'm going to get curious about that resentment. I'm going to get curious about why I'm so angry. I'm going to look at what things are and are not in my control and just see how things move for me. But being willing to be just a little bit uncomfortable as you practice this, like that is an emotion I hope all of you are taking away from this is I'm willing to be uncomfortable enough to experience full joy.
Totally. Oh, what a good sentiment. Yeah. And even as you're saying that, I'm like discomfort. Discomfort's one of the best emotions to kind of to take inventory on,
Yeah.
right? I like to say take inventory, but like, am I willing to feel discomfort? Can I tolerate discomfort in my body?
Mm-hmm.
And just start there.
Yeah. Yep. Because all good things start out as kind of uncomfortable in the beginning, right? When
They
you're learning
do. They
something new, it's
do.
a little uncomfortable, but it's okay.
But it's okay. It'll be okay.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, we're running low on time. So, what's your main takeaway from this conversation, Kellen? What's one thing that you really want our listeners to feel into?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is understanding that emotions, they're not here to hurt you. Sometimes they can feel so bad and it can feel and it's the resistance that hurts, right? I think
Mm-hmm.
we haven't really tapped into that, but maybe this is the perfect closing, right? It's not the emotion that hurts us, it's the resistance to the emotion. Sadness is not that bad when you open up to it. But when you're pushing it and carrying those rocks in your backpack and trying to jump on that beach ball, it's really painful.
Yeah.
Um, and if you've done that your whole life, again, it makes so much sense. It's how we're taught, but try something different. Try
Hmm.
something different and open up and just you'll see how much the opening up um allows it to be there and just it will change your life,
Yeah.
really. Emotions are the most important thing
Yeah.
that we have.
I love that. Yeah. And I think that maybe that's the first emotion you choose to sit with is just, why am I resisting feeling this emotion?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
it's
sit
a
with that
beautiful question.
resistance and even using that as a cheat code, right? Using all of the emotions as a cheat code. That's my main takeaway, Kellen, was you saying that emotions are a cheat code. I
Yeah.
love that.
They are. They
Yeah.
really are. They
Yeah.
are.
So,
It's beautiful pieces of information, right?
mhm.
If we go back to the sadness of a relationship, like that sadness is showing you so much. That's
Yeah.
showing you that relationship mattered to you, that you deeply cared for that other person, that you really have a desire to be in relationship. That's so much information, right? And we
Yeah.
can't access that wisdom if we're like, I shouldn't be sad. This is stupid. I that guy was terrible and we're blaming our emotions on other people. We can't
Hmm.
access all that beautiful wisdom.
Yeah, which brings us back to, I love this. This has now come full circle, which brings us back to the difference between positive thinking and emotional bypassing is remembering that positive thinking is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So when we're only focusing on how uncomfortable that emotion is, we're forgetting the beauty that comes from it. We're forgetting to look at, and isn't it beautiful that that grief is showing me how much love was there? Isn't it beautiful that that jealousy is showing me what it is that I want to be seeking out in a relationship? It's showing me what my green flags are, but recognizing that, okay, what's the whole truth here? And opening yourself up to that.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Well,
Such a
thank you so much for being here, everybody. And if you would like some help and support learning how to sit with your emotions, feel free to reach out to me. Feel free to reach out to Kellyn. Kellyn, how can they find you?
you can find me on Instagram. I'm at Daydreamer Coaching or daydreamercoaching.com.
Awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I'll put all of our information in the show notes, as well as a link to the book, The Body Keeps the Score. I highly recommend. So, yeah, thank you so much for being here, and I'll see you next week.
See you soon. Bye.
Bye.